welcome back. This is the Western Conference predictions, so let me just get right into it. Team I had first, and it's hard to say they are not by far the best team in the NBA, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They won the league, the NBA championship last year. They had the MVP and SGA. Chet Holmgren, arguably their second, if not third best player, missed most of the last year. This team is the deepest in the NBA. Their big three is young. They have the best guard right now, perimeter player in the NBA and SGA. So until I see otherwise, give me Oklahoma City. So I looked at this. I looked at this before I made this prediction because I just kind of wanted to see. Basically, 3-8 last year. Teams were separate by 1 or 2 games, so it could have gone either way. That's how close it was in the West. I feel the same way through 2 through 7 this year. And I just went based on kind of depth on where I had the teams ranked. Because I think depth will help out more in the regular season than in the postseason because it'll help you win games, allow you to limit players' minutes. If injuries come up, back-to-backs, long road trips, etc., it'll help benefit in that way. So the team I have second is the Los Angeles Clippers. I think they are the deepest team in the NBA. Yes, they lost Norman Powell, but Kawhi Leonard didn't play most of last year. He's going to be playing. They go out and get John Collins in the front court. Now they have a power forward. Very, very good. They go out and create Chris Paul to add to their bench. They add Brook Lopez to add to their bench. This team is now 7-8 deep. And they're all experienced. They all have goods. Now, they're a lot older, but they're all very good. The only one that's really not older that's in this prime is Ivan Zubac, who broke out last year and it was a borderline all-star center. So I just look at the Clippers and I just think, and obviously Collins isn't as well, so I just look at them and I just say, wow, this is a team that is really, really deep. Second year with Jeff Van Gundy as an assistant coach who's going to be basically their defensive coordinator, and Ty Lue, 2 very good coaches on the staff. Like I said, to navigate the West with all this depth, I think it's going to be so helpful for the Clippers. Team I have third, very similar to like in the East, is the Denver Nuggets. Mainly because they have Nikola Jokic, the best. Him and Giannis and SGA are the 3 best players in the NBA. And Jokic, the reason I think they'll be better is 2 reasons. One, I thought Michael Porter Jr., who's supposed to be their 3rd leading scorer last year, was a problem. I think Cam Johnson is actually very similar, but an upgrade. Also, they didn't have a bench. Now they have a bench. They re-signed Bruce Brown, and they go out and get Tim Hardaway. So along with that, and then Peyton Watson, who and Najee, who had a better years than they did previous year, and they go out and get Giannis Valanciunas. They now actually have a legitimate bench, which again, having Jonas Valanciunas will help Jokic throughout the season, so he doesn't have to play 40-something minutes. Because they now have a backup center that can, substitute and play. Not similar, but very good. Team I like fourth, because when they acquired him, they were a top 3 team in the NBA, is the Golden State Warriors. When they acquired Jimmy Butler, they were an elite defensive team, and they had a great record. Then they get guys like Al Horford, who will probably be the best center that the Warriors have had under Steph Curry, and he is literally the perfect fit for Steph Curry and the Warriors. Why? He is a great defender. He can guard down low, on the perimeter. He's an amazing person that sets picks at the top of the key. He's a great passer. He can score in the post. He can hit a jump shot. So what does this allow this to do? This allows Draymond to not carry the load, which is basically what he's been doing since David Lee and Andrew Bogut have left. And that's kind of worn them down. You kind of seen it the last few years. Yes, Al Horford is older. His numbers last year weren't as good as previous years, but just allowing that is helpful. Not to mention, when you have young centers like Quentin Post, who's a 3-and-D center, or a guy like Trace Jackson Davis, I think the veteran leadership will also help out there. And again, Kuminga, they didn't have most of last year. They didn't have Butler for most of the last year because the deadline. Kuminga will come off the bench. Curious to see if they keep him the whole year or if they trade him and what piece they'll get. They also re-signed DeAnthony Melton, who got hurt for them last year. I just look at the Warriors, what they have. They bring back Curry. They bring back Buddy Hield. They still have young guys like Pods and Moody and Santos. I just look at this team and I'll go, they have a great combination of young and old players, and their four old players are Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford. Uh, Again, I think it's very, very. I think this is probably the best Warriors team since they won the title, and it was only a few years ago. But this could be the last hurrah for the Warriors. The team I have fifth, and in all fairness, if this one player was healthy, I'd probably have them number one, is the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving's going to miss a lot of the season. If he was healthy, I'd probably have him number one. Because then it would put, D'Angelo Russell back to the bench. But right now, he's not. Right now, if once Kyrie comes back, you'll have Kyrie, D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, Matt Christie, deep backcourt. But until then, you'll have Deontay Exum taking over the backup point guard role, and D'Angelo Russell being the starting point guard role. But the front court is what really, really makes me giddy about the Dallas Mavericks. You have Anthony Davis. You have Cooper Flag. You have Derek Lively. Gafford is out, but he will be back. Then you have PJ Washington as well with Gafford off the bench. This team is deep. This team is big. This team can shoot. This team can defend. The two things I want to say. One, Jason Kidd's a great coach. He will make the best out of this. Second thing is most young phenoms and rookies, when they come into the NBA, they might be able to score, not defend, because of their body. Cooper Flag is going to be an elite defender. His body is big. He wants to guard people on the perimeter, down low, etc. I mean, I've heard this before, and there's been a lot of prospects that I've locked coming out. But to be honest with you, he's the best freshman high school player, foreign player, in my opinion, to come out since LeBron James. I know Wemby came out in recent years, and Zion Williamson came out in recent years, and they were supposed to be the next big thing. And what have they done, right? But I look at Cooper Flag, and I don't see a weakness at all. He just has to be like any player. He just has to grow and become more consistent with his game. And I just think with Jason Kidd there, with guys like Anthony Davis, it's like I said, it's a shame that Kyrie Irving wasn't there to start the beginning of the season, because if he was, then it would take pressure off for Cooper Flag. But in a way, maybe it'll help him out, because he will probably be the primary ball handler scorer on the perimeter until Kyrie comes back. Team I have sixth is, I think they got better and I think they got worse. They lost a lot of their pieces, but they did upgrade some of their pieces, and that's the Houston Rockets. KD is better than whatever they had last year, but when you lose Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet to an injury, Cam Whitmore, you're losing a lot of your players that played a lot of minutes for you last year. Amen Thompson, Sagoon, the young players, Terry Eason. I expect them to take a step forward. You still have Steven Adams. Jabari Smith missed a lot of last year as well, so I expect him to take a step forward. But again, that's kind of their core group. Reed Shepard, they said, might get some minutes, but again, they should be able to defend people, and they do have a big three in Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Alfred Sengun. But I don't know where all the other pieces are. And again, in the West, we're splitting hairs. So that's why I have them at number 6. Team I have number 7 is the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka Doncic, my two problems with him in my career, in his career with me, has been he's out of shape and doesn't give effort on defense. He looks like he's in the best shape I've ever seen. There's check one. Now he actually has to play some defense. If he does, he is probably the best player in the NBA. With that being said, LeBron is older. He has sciatica, might miss the first month of the season. DeAndre Ayton is not the typical center you want with Luka. You want a guy that can run the rim because he likes to pick and drive and lob it up. DeAndre Ayton's more of you throw in the post or pick and pop. So we'll see how that works out. I do think he's an upgrade, a huge upgrade versus Jackson Hayes of what they was last year. But my concerns is when Luka got there, Austin Reeves kind of disappeared. Are we going to see the Austin Reeves before Luka? Are we going to see the Austin Reeves after Luka? That's a big question mark, because if not, then we don't know who their third or fourth scorer is, because like I said, with Ayton, how's he going to fit? So there's just a lot of question marks for me too. Adding Smart and Larave to the bench, I don't know. I don't know how much that moves the needle. Well, that's why, with that being said, if LeBron's healthy, Luka's healthy, they have two of the top 10, 15 players in the NBA. That'll take you far. But again, we're splitting hairs in the West. And this is where I think it drops off. The Minnesota Timberwolves, number 8. It's the same old story. I need to see Anthony Edwards show me he's a all-star caliber player. I mean, not an all-star caliber player, an MVP caliber player. Because he's, at this last year's, I felt like he should have taken the next step. He didn't. So until he takes that next step, this is the same team that we've seen the last couple of years. So that's why I kind of have them where they are. Team I have 9 is the Sacramento Kings. You have Levine, you have DeRozan, you have Sabonis, 3 all-star caliber players. Then you guys obviously have guys like Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, who's going to miss some time to start the season. Keon Ellis had a good season last year. I really like their rookie, Nick Clifford. I think he might actually be their point guard. He should be to distribute to all these other guys. But we'll see how it plays out. I feel like it's the same story with the Kings every year. They have the talent, but it just doesn't work. Team I have 10th is the San Antonio Spurs. I think they have a lot of depth and youth, but Fox is going to miss some time. And again, I've seen this story with the Spurs. If they just limit players' minutes, they eventually tank the season. So that's my reserves about the Spurs. I do like I said, the young core of Wemby, Sochan, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vessel, Stephen Castle, the rookie Dylan Harper, and then obviously you have, De'Aaron Fox, who's also going to miss some time. Team I have next is the Phoenix Suns. Not sure they got better, not sure they got worse, but again, I think a lot of the pieces have to mesh well. You get Mark Williams, you get Malaka at the center position from Duke, rookies. You have 2 really, really good centers now, which I think will definitely help out Booker, because I thought his best was when he had DeAndre Ayton. You get rid of KD, you're not really replacing him, but you do get another 20-point scorer in Jalen Green. You did get Dylan Brooks. Ryan Dunn had a good season last year. So that's a sneaky team that if everything gelled together and worked out perfectly, maybe they're a playing team. But there's just a lot of things that have to fall into place for them, especially in the West. The next team, if Dejounte Murray was healthy to start season, I might have them in a playoff team. Again, similar to Luka, it's best I've ever seen Zion Williamson in shape. And if Zion Williamson's shape, he's an MVP caliber player. But again, they just don't have a lot of pieces. I do think getting rid of CJ McCollum helps out. But again, they don't really have a lot of pieces. They had the same players they've had the last few years. All they really did was add, was Jordan Poole. That's basically it. So, they added some rookies, none who I love. So with all that being said, that's why I have the Pelicans at 12. Team I have 13 is the Memphis Grizzlies. I truly believe losing Desmond Bain is going to be big. Well, Rave was one of their best players last year. Edie is hurt. Jaren Jackson and John Morant. It's just them. And at a certain point, they're not Luke and LeBron where they can just carry this team. The West is so deep. Plus, all they did was really add Ty Jerome. Don't really like what they've done. So with all of that being said, I just think that the Memphis Grizzlies take a step back. Maybe they take Ja. Maybe they take JJ Jr. at some point. But I just don't really like the Memphis Grizzlies and what they've done. The last 2 teams are definitely rebuilding teams. Utah Jazz. I think they have a lot of good young players. I like the rookies, Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton Jr. they drafted. They obviously had Collier last year, a rookie. They still have Keontae George to get the backcourt. You have Walker Kessler at kind of a breakout season. You still have Lauri Markkanen as well. So you got rid of John Collins. So what do you do except for Lauri Markkanen? Everyone is kind of youthful. So Markkanen's kind of in his prime. Maybe they trade him. But they have a lot of youthful players. Filipowski filled in well at the end of last year too. So I like where the direction is heading, but you're in the West, you're too young, you're way far away. Next team is the Portland Trailblazers. I think Drew Holiday going back there helps guys like Shaedon Sharpe and Dini Avdija. Both had good seasons. Avdija had a breakout season last year. I do like their center from last year, Donovan Clingan. I like their center they drafted this year, Yang. So with all of that being said, I still think, you have Jeremy Grant. Maybe he gets traded and stuff like that. I don't think everything works well. I think it's great for the future, but again, we're in the West and there's just too deep. So that's why I have them last. So that's my predictions in the Western Conference. Next, I'll be back with my playoff predictions.